Hey guys, Hikari here, and this week's chapter of My Hero Academia was very heavy. This is a very heavy chapter that kind of tackled some very important topics, but very heavy topics at the same time, and we see this at the beginning of the chapter actually, where we start off with the flashback of Spinner, and we see that a bunch of people are saying, stay away, you filthy monster, you need to pass away. They're saying a lot of very bad stuff to him, and we see a sort of silhouette of maybe a younger Spinner, and he's kind of walking away from all of this, and this gives us a really good idea of like how the chapter is going to go ahead and what themes we're going to be tackling throughout the thing. But that's just how it starts off, and we can already tell that this is going to be a very wild chapter. Another very interesting thing about the chapter is that the title of the chapter is his story, but it's also can be pronounced history, so it's kind of like we're going into his story, which we're going to find out it could be either Shoji or Spinner they're talking about here, or it could be seen as history, which shows the history of the different things that would happen to the mutant people, and we're going to see a lot of that in this chapter. So let's go dive right into the next panel. So it seems that Spinner's objective right now is to try and free Kurogiri from the heroes, and it seems that he is locked up in a sort of hospital, and in order to get him out, he's actually gathered up over 15,000 civilians to actually help his cause. And we see that all of these people are kind of here because of the simple fact that they're mutant people and they feel oppressed, and they see that Spinner is kind of a person that's been on a pedestal. They see that he's the kind of light of hope, their beacon that they can follow, somebody that is just like them, that is standing up against the society, the hero society, and the society of people hating them, and they're going to revolt and fight back with Spinner. We see that Present Mike is trying his best to try to push them back, and we also see people like Rocklock there, but we see that it just isn't working. There's just way too many people right now trying to fight back, and the heroes are honestly getting overwhelmed. They're already spread super thin. They don't really have anybody that can help them as backup, and we see that they're getting overrun, and the civilians that are fighting back are going to eventually get to the hospital. We even see that Koda is there, the one hero, or the hero student that can control animals. We see that he's there, and he's honestly trying to fight back too, but he's getting overrun also. And there's a really interesting panel where we see that the different mutant people are kind of talking to Rocklock, and they're saying, you're never going to understand, you're never going to get what we're having to go through every single day, you're never going to get it. And we see that this completely kind of scares him, and you can only imagine how you have this angry mob of people and they're just not listening to anything you have to say. They've been oppressed for so long, and this is their big moment to kind of let everything out, and they're letting it out right now. They don't care about anything, they just want to get their point across. We then get to a very interesting panel where Koda kind of gets pressed by one of the people there, one of the mutants, and they're calling him, a traitor. They're saying that he must be city scum. So this is one of the things that we're going to get into, where they're kind of seeing that in the city, it seems that like the mutant problem or the hatred of mutants isn't really as big as it is in the countryside or in other places, but it's kind of scary to see Koda kind of put in the situation where he hasn't really ever experienced maybe like a lot of prejudice in his life. So he's kind of seeing these people and what they're going through, and he's probably going to have to kind of resonate with them, kind of see it from their perspective. And I think it's very important that we get the Spinner story, or we get Spinner in this chapter, since he's a very interesting character and it really is going to tackle a big part of My Hero Academia right here. We also see the one person from the Paranormal Liberation Front, and I can't remember his name or what his quirk is, but I'm pretty sure it lets him kind of like amplify people's emotions, or kind of make them go crazy, make them kind of like have stronger emotions than they already did, or something like that. It kind of mind controls them in a way, but the mob was already angry. He seemingly is just amplifying them and making them even more mad, but I can't remember his name or if that really is him, but he's right there in the chapter. He then talks about the violent history of the different mutant characters in the series, and we go over the fact that a lot of them were kind of persecuted and prejudiced against just because of the fact that they look different. And he even says that they were literally almost hunted, and that the reason that people gave for hunting them or like taking them down and all that was just that they were gross. And we see that this is very disgusting to kind of see in the story, and it's honestly insane seeing something like this, or something brought up like this, in the story of My Hero Academia, since it's kind of been under wraps for a bit. We've seen small inklings of different prejudice against the mutant characters, but right now we're kind of seeing it full force, or fully from their perspective, how they view themselves being mistreated throughout history. And it's very sad to kind of see it and see that because of this they have to kind of revolt against the heroes right now, or just society in general. And it seems like they really are hurting. We really do need to have some sort of solution for them, and I'm hoping that it really does come by the end of the manga. We even get to see the one dude again confirming the fact that they see Spinner as a sort of beacon, this light of hope, and they're saying that he's going to be the one that leads us to into a better society. And we get a small panel of Spinner, and we see that he has his sword, and Spinner's very big right now, and we see him saying in his mind that I have no idea what they're really talking about. So it seems like his mind is kind of slipping right now. He isn't really able to fully realize what he's doing, but the only thing he does know is that he just needs to get Kurogiri back, and we see him starting to fight back against the heroes. And if anyone knows, could they please let me know in the comments, did All For One give him any other quirk or anything that would really boost his power right now? Or is this just more so him kind of saying that the power that he gave him in terms of leadership is kind of making him do this? Or is he doing this because of the one dude's quirk that like makes you a little bit more mad, makes your emotions kind of run wild? If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments, since I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember, but it could be one of those three, where he either has another quirk introduced that's kind of messing with his mind, he's either being kind of controlled a little bit by the one dude's quirk, or maybe he just is kind of mutating right now. He's just losing his mind with power, or maybe something like that. I'm not sure, but please let me know. With that being said though, this leads us into the final portions of the chapter, and we see that he's actually about to do a big overhead attack, but the person that actually stops him is Shoji, and we haven't seen Shoji a lot in this story, and Shoji is actually one of my favorite characters in My Hero Academia. I feel like we don't get as much as him as we should, but right now it seems that we're finally going to kind of get his big moment in the manga, and we're going to be getting a lot of story and backstory on him, since he really is one of the cooler characters in my opinion. All of the different mutant characters are reacting to the fact that Shoji kind of stopped Spinner right now, and they're saying, you traitor, what are you doing? Like, what's wrong with you? And they're telling Spinner to, just end his life. And he starts talking something very interesting. He says something very relevant, which is the fact that, what is attacking the hospital doing for your cause? And he mentions that during the last fight, the heroes actually evacuated everybody out of the hospital before they even attacked it. So they're saying, what is their cause doing right now other than just harming people that haven't done anything? And they could potentially even be harming mutants that are in the hospital that they don't know about. So he's saying like use your mind. Why are you guys doing this? You're just spreading more chaos, more trouble, trying to spread your cause, but you're doing it in the wrong way. And we see that he's saying this because he's actually a mutant. We know Shoji's been a mutant, or a person in the story that has, kind of mutant body parts. He's not really a normal human, quote unquote, as you would see it in the story. So it seems very relevant for him to be up against Spinner, and we're going to see their ideals kind of clash. Two mutant characters kind of seeing, what the other person's thinking, and probably trying to see eye to eye. So I think it is perfect for Shoji to be the one to fight Spinner right now, and that's what we see in the last panel of the chapter. We see that his mouth, or the thing around his mouth, is gone, and we see that there's a sort of scar on it, and his mouth is very wide open, and we can only assume that he attained the scar after being hurt by somebody for maybe being a mutant, since we see in one of the panels from before his mouth is kind of bandaged up and stuff. So it seems that like back in the day he might have gotten hurt by somebody just for being a mutant, and this is kind of him kind of fighting back, saying, we can do things a better way. And it really is cool that he's the one that's going to be fighting with Spinner right now, and that's actually where the chapter ends, with him saying that, if your answer is no, that you didn't even think about the innocent people in there, that he's never going to forgive them. So this is a very good chapter, and it tackled some very heavy stuff, and I think a lot of people can learn a lot from this chapter, and I really do want to see what happens going forward. So I hope Horikoshi doesn't move away from this fight. I hope we kind of focus on this for a while, and just to see the ending of the Spinner story, since a lot of people like Spinner. I like Spinner a lot, and I like Shoji, so these are two of the people that I like a whole bunch kind of clashing right now. So it's going to be very interesting seeing what happens, but definitely let me know what you guys thought of the chapter in the comment section. Also, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe, as it really does help me out, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys for sticking around and watching my videos, and there's a lot more to come, so thank you. Also, follow my socials, follow my TikTok and my Twitter. I'm going to link those up in the top right corner. But with that being said, I'm out. Peace.